it's still warm out. We've got about 3 more days in the 80 degrees, and then lows at night in the mid to upper 60s, and then we get back to fall the way it should be in Ohio, and we're going to be in highs in the 50s and lows in the 40s. I hate that kind of temperature. I love this kind of temperature. It's even humid out. Let's get to work.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
We did have some rain though, and I haven't had a chance to mow the grass. The leaves are starting to fall off the trees as expected, but the grass is getting awful tall, and I can't do it when it's wet. The mower just don't like that. As far as the truck, you guys saw that I made those changes to the throttle body on this thing, and it's responding pretty well. It's doing a pretty good job. It's learning. I've got to bump up the fuel pressure, I think. However, whenever I was out driving around, if you guys remember, I had a problem the last time that I was towing home, that the truck was pulling real hard to the left, and I've never really checked the brakes because it kind of went away. However, whenever I was doing test runs with the truck, I noticed when I was slowing down, I heard a noise which sounded like it was back here in the drum, maybe. It could be that it's on the front, but I really think it might be in the drum. It's hard to tell. Sound plays such a funny part whenever you're, you know, driving down the road, what it's reflecting off of. Not sure why, but he's got it loud. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the truck around. You can see it's kind of muddy. Like I said, we have had rain, and I'm going to try to take this tire off and see what I can find today. Hopefully it's nothing serious. I got it up on the jack and removed. I forgot how heavy all this was. I forgot how heavy duty everything was. You can see I replaced all the brakes and the hardware April 2017, and that basically is the pads and all these springs and clips and everything else that goes along with it, including this cable for the return, and then this self-adjuster down below, and all that looks really good. And I was trying to find out, why is this thing, you know, making that weird noise, and it's just occasionally, and it doesn't seem to be affecting the brakes. Like I said, other than that one time that the truck was pulling to the left when I was towing, I still haven't found out what that was, because it stopped doing it. However, that noise was coming from back here, and whenever I was taking off the drum, the weight fell off. Yeah, this weight here, because this is such a large rotating mass, they do balance it. I mentioned that before whenever I was talking about the brakes on the RV, and the RVs, for most parts, they don't balance their drums. So a lot of people say, well, there's no sense in balancing your tires and wheels. Well, I feel as if balancing the wheels and tires is the right thing to do on an RV. That's just my personal preference. There's a lot of people that don't. And I know right now you guys are probably thinking, I'm going to pause this video and go out and look at mine. If you didn't tell them to balance your tires whenever you got new tires for your RV, a lot of the shops don't. They just don't do it. And I find that kind of weird, but it's because the drum is not balanced on those either. But yeah, in this case, the drum, I don't know, this could have been moving around. I mean, it's kind of making the noise that I thought I heard, but I don't know what that would be. I mean, it was still attached, and I don't know, maybe the tire was kind of holding it in place a little bit. I looked on the back side of the tire, and there's really no rub marks here or on the wheel, but I don't know. So I'm gonna have to buy a new drum, because it definitely needs to be balanced. Like I said, that's pretty heavy. They're only about $70. So now I'm debating whether I should replace the other one over there. It's kind of the right thing to do, but it's also $70 to replace something that looks just as good as this one did. You know, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad at all. So I got to think about that. See, I went ahead and changed, or am in the process of changing, both drums. Even though this drum was okay, you know, it's just one of those things, I can't half-ass it. I want to make sure everything's matched. This is the right thing to do. So my son, he's getting off work early today, and he drives right past Heidi's work So I went ahead and got 2 new drums for this, which these things are monstrous. They're heavy. And he's going to bring those home, and I'll slap them on, and then I might work on his van. I'm not sure. Oh, I love new shiny parts, don't you? Yeah, you can see where I did the brakes and the hardware was April of last year. And then, of course, I wrote down the drums. It's always good to write this stuff down. I know you guys have probably seen that on my videos of me working on the truck underneath the hood. I got writing everywhere. Lets me know what the torque rating is. I don't have to look that up in the manual every time. Even the guy that rotated my tires and did my alignment said, yeah, that's kind of nice that you wrote down the torque rating for me. He goes, I double checked it just in case. He said, but he goes, it's a good idea. So I got to just go ahead and bolt up that other tire. You can see my son's back home. He has no interest in working on the van today, so I don't blame him. He's been working a ton of days straight, and he's got 4 days off. And again, I should say 4 days off. He has 3.5 days off. Today's his half day, so he's going to enjoy himself for the rest of the day, and then we'll jump on his van tomorrow and start doing some work, and you guys will see that on the van build series. So let me go ahead and button this thing up, take it for a test drive, let the computer learn some more on that new throttle body I've added, and we'll pick this up another time. Well, guys, we thought we'd talk to you about whatever's on our mind. It's Monday. It's kind of a abnormal day for us to shoot any kind of a video, but as far as, oh, there's a fly floating around here. One of the things that you saw earlier today was I was working on the truck. I was putting some new drums on the back, and Heidi and I discussed newer vehicles. Right now she's decided that she's going to go ahead and sell her little Mercury Sable that we bought, and it was kind of like I don't know, it was kind of like a replacement for her Honda, right? Yeah. So the car is pretty decent. I mean, it does everything that she needs it to do. It's just, you know, whenever you get older, you get past a certain point where you wanted something a little bit better. You don't need anything just basic. You want something that's a step above basic. And in our case, the car does everything that we want it to do, and it'll get her by just fine. But we're talking about maybe getting a different vehicle, and that comes into play with the truck and the work that I've done on it. Now, you guys don't get upset about this. Her and I have done this, I don't know how many times. We have bought something, we have fixed it up, and we have done lots of work to it. And not only have we done lots of work to it, but we have done things above and beyond what somebody who's just flipping something would do. We actually, when we make repairs or upgrades to anything that we have, we usually do it as if we are doing it for ourselves, because there is a chance that we may keep it. So as far as, for example, our Apache pop-up, we did a lot of work on that, and we would do stuff like we would polish the uprights on the RV so that they almost appear to be chrome, even though they're aluminum, just because we thought that would be nicer to look at. And our Starcraft pop-up, we put new canvas on it. I put electric brakes on it. I converted it from manual to electric brakes, even though we knew we were going to sell it. Well, same with the truck that I have. I mean, all these modifications that I've done over the years, same with the truck prior to that I had, the F-150 that we had prior to that. All those modifications that I do as if I was going to keep the vehicle, even though there's a chance we may not keep it. So the fact that Heidi's selling her car, we have been talking that we might, in place of her car, she might go and get a new truck, for obvious reasons, because then when we go full time, we have a new truck that we can tow the RV with. Now, my old truck is a beast, and it's a great truck. It's 21 years old, and it competes with the new trucks that are out there. However, it's 21 years old. So there's things that you just can't get around with a vehicle that's that old, such as in our case, because we're in Northeast Ohio, bodywork. The rust is starting to come through, and it's something that we have to kind of tackle. Now, the truck for most people is just something that's, a dream for them. And it was a dream for me. I mean, as far as having an F-150 prior that had a lot of miles, I don't remember how many miles it was on that old F-150, 198,000 I think it was. And it towed the RV okay, but stepping up to this truck was just so much better. And then we have done a ton of upgrades to it and made it really, really good. So the whole fact that we're talking about a new truck, I mean, can you imagine having a new truck, at least for me having a new truck, and it going 21 years? It's kind of one of those things that we've discussed it, we thought about it, and we still don't know 100% sure what we're going to do, but we wanted to let you guys, clue you guys in on our thoughts on it. Again, since the fact that Heidi needs a new vehicle, why not be a new truck? And then I can take my old truck here and maybe sell it. Maybe get a winter vehicle that I can just pal around in and, go from there. We don't know. It's the plans are fluid, but it's something that we've been thinking about.
Well, it would be no big deal that if we got a truck, because I only drive 16 miles a day. So it's not like I wouldn't be putting minimal miles on it.
If I sold my truck, we could get 2 winter beaters.
Oh yeah.
And you could have that to drive. And I could have a winter beater to drive, and the truck would just sit there just for,
Maybe put it in storage.
Put it in storage, yeah. It's hard to tell. And we could go a whole different way with it. I could keep this old truck. I could put a new engine in this truck. So now instead of 183,000 miles on the engine, I have 0. And we could put a new transmission in the truck. And instead of having 183,000 miles on the transmission, I'd have 0. It's just one of those things that we want to keep you in the loop because we don't know which direction we're going to go. And the one thing that is a constant, even when we bought this truck, when we decided that we're going to do full-time RVing, is we always wanted to make sure we had a 4-wheel drive, because there's a lot of RV parks that are on the beach, or a lot of RV boondocking situations that are on the beach.
Or off-road.
We love the beach or off-road, and there's a lot of boondocking situations out in the desert that if it rained, we could be stuck. They get a situation where the roads have washouts and stuff like that, and if we don't have a 4-wheel drive, that could be an issue. Now, granted, we could adjust the way that we RV to accommodate just the 2-wheel drive lifestyle, and
missing out on stuff.
yeah, I think we would be missing out. She's absolutely right. As far as the RV's concerned, and the truck pulling it, we could do a lot. We could cover a lot of territory, and a 2-wheel drive truck always does better than a 4-wheel drive truck as far as gas mileage because of a couple of things. One is rotating mass and weight. So, you have with a 4-wheel drive truck a lot more rotating mass on the front because you have a whole nother drive axle, and then the weight of that new front drive axle, and I don't have that with this truck. The other thing is towing capability. If you have a 2-wheel drive truck that is absolutely identical in every way to the 4-wheel drive truck, the 2-wheel drive truck can tow a little bit more. And the reason is because the 2-wheel drive truck has a lower gross combined vehicle weight, or a gross vehicle weight rating. The truck is able to tow X amount of pounds, and the fact that the 2-wheel drive truck weighs less than the 4-wheel drive truck always allows it to tow a little bit more.
I think that most F-250s, though, Most of those are four-wheel drive, aren't they?
Yeah, it seems like that a lot of the new
I run into at work.
a lot of the new F-250s are four-wheel drive. They've gotten to the point where the difference between the two-wheel drive and the four-wheel drive is not that much. Now, as far as living in Northeast Ohio and having snow and ice and everything else, I've never needed a four-wheel drive truck to drive. Don't get me wrong, I've had trouble getting out of the driveway a couple of times with the two-wheel drive truck. Not so much this one, but the F-150, it just didn't have enough weight in the bed of the truck. And I always had to put about 600 pounds worth of sand in the bed of the truck to get it to where it would actually go down the road the way I wanted to during a really hard snowstorm.
We don't get very many of those.
Well, yeah, we don't. And the whole thing is we're not going to be in Northeast Ohio.
Right. Plus, it would make it a little bit easier for us to come back home during the winter months.
Right.
If need be.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is get in the situation where we want to come home because the weather is relatively decent in Ohio, and then a snowstorm comes through, and then us not being able to escape the state, or vice versa. Maybe we want to come back to Ohio because it's Christmas, and there's a real hard snow, which I don't remember the last hard snow at Christmas time, but there's different situations where you would need a four-wheel drive. And for us, because I really don't drive anywhere, and Heidi don't drive very far, we've never really needed a four-wheel drive. I think looking back over the last 30 years, there might have been 3 situations that we really needed a four-wheel drive, that a four-wheel drive was definitely needed for the situation that we were into.
You still get stuck.
Yeah, four-wheel drives, you guys that have, when it comes to ice storms and icy road conditions, I don't care if you have a 60-wheel drive. It doesn't make a difference. You're still going to get stuck. You're going to slide. There's not going to be a lot of control there. Ice is a whole different story. But as far as snow, there is situations where four-wheel drive does come in handy. So we wanted to talk about that a little bit. So you guys have a heads up. Again, don't think badly if I've done all this work on the truck. There's a lot of you that subscribe to us that's like, man, that truck's awesome and that's cool.
If we weren't here, it wouldn't be an issue with keeping it. I'm saying that the longer we stay here with that truck, it's going to start showing its age.
Yeah, that's the worst thing here.
It's only been 50 miles or 50,000 miles. Is that about how many miles?
I don't even think it was that many, about 20,000 miles.
How many miles it got on it?
183,000.
It was 132 or 130 some thousand.
Yeah, I guess it has been.
About 50,000.
And what she's talking about is being in Northeast Ohio in the Rust Belt, there's a couple things that really makes a vehicle rust out. Number one, letting it sit. Well, I don't drive a lot. I work from home here, and I don't need to drive it a lot. So there's no chance of everything heating up and, drying off and, being able to wash it and keep it salt-free. And sitting in the driveway that we have a gravel driveway, as Heidi mentioned, and there's so much moisture that's held in because of that gravel driveway. Even if we paid $2,000 to have our driveway asphalted, it doesn't make a difference because the vehicle just don't drive that much. But when I do take it out and you drive it out of the road during the winter, the road salt, you're just bathing it in salty water.
Especially the state route.
Yeah, we're right on a state route. They load this thing down with salt all the time. So every time we take it out for a drive, if it's, melted roadway whatsoever, it's all salt spray, and the truck is just covered in it, and it finds every little crease and every little crack that it can settle in. And even though I wash this thing all the time, there's just no way to keep it from rusting out. That's basically what's happening, is the truck is rusting out. So I would rather see somebody that might be able to take it and go down south with it. And in our case, we would like to do the same, but we're not going to do that for a couple of years. So it would be a good idea to just go ahead and let the truck go for the time being and find something else that will do it. Now, I want to be clear on the trucks and the options that are out there. Right now, Ford has a 6.2 liter that's been out since, I guess it's been about 2010 that they came out with a 6.2 liter gas engine. And it's been a pretty good engine. There was a couple of years there that they had some issues. Also, they have a 6.8 liter that was available for quite a few years that replaced the 460. Those two engines are pretty good. However, out of the two, I'd rather have the 6.2 liter. It's got good horsepower, good torque, and it has, in the later years, aluminum body on the trucks, and also it has a 10-speed transmission, which really helps out with towing. However, within a couple of years here, they're coming out, and the rumor has it it's a 7.3 liter gas engine. Now, in this old truck, I have a 7.5 liter gas engine, and it's old technology. This technology's been around for a really long time. However, this thing is still a beast, and there's still people that want it out there, and including myself. It's just a great engine. However, when Ford comes out with this new 7.3 liter, if it is actually a 7.3 liter, that thing is going to be a game changer. It's going to be something that everybody's going to be talking about, I'm sure, at some point. As far as a gas engine is concerned, that is a good displacement. And if you can put new technology to it, it's really going to be incredible. So much so that it's really going to make diesel owners looking twice at owning a gas engine instead of the diesel with all the crap that goes along with that. So that would be nice, but the problem is for the first couple of years of a new engine design, there's always problems. There's always weird things that go on. So maybe the 6.2 liter would be a better option for us, just for the fact that even though it's new to us, it would be a little bit older. You know, the engine that's going out, the engine that's on the out, and with that usually comes discounts. So we're going to maybe do some shopping for a truck. It's hard to tell, and you might be seeing the old F-250 here on the for sale block. I'm not sure yet, but we wanted to keep you in the loop. That's what we've been talking about. The other thing that's been on our minds is the weather.
It's very nice.
It is incredible. I don't know what's going to happen with Heidi whenever it gets to be 40 degrees and I'm not here. She's going to have to plow the driveway by herself because I'm just going to hook up the camper and take off. Yeah, it's really incredible for October. It was the same way last year, and this has to do with global warming for sure. Just give you an idea, back in the 90s, I remember when Heidi and I first got married, for Halloween, I could not believe how much snow we got. It was snow, windy, and cold, and those poor kids that were trick-or-treating, their parents would show up with their minivan and the door would slide open, and here comes these kids all loaded up in their costumes with a winter coat on and everything, and boots and all that stuff. They'd run to our door, they'd ring the bell, they'd get their trick-or-treat on, and then they'd run right back to the safety of the van. It could be really bad in October here, so this is a really nice change. Honestly, as you see us here in t-shirts, and I'm wearing shorts, same with Heidi, t-shirts and cutoffs, capris, I guess you can call it. We're only talking about 4 days, and that is bye-bye. The highs are in the 50s and the lows are in the 40s. So we're going to move into serious fall weather here. That's basically it. So if you guys have any thoughts about new trucks versus old trucks, go ahead and let us know in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching, and it's amazing how many subscribers we have. I really hope that we can continue to entertain and keep you guys interested in what's happening. As always, guys, we hope to see you out there.
Bye.
Bye.